This episode of the Astro Powder Powdcast is brought to you by Gema. Gema's OptiStar all-in-one control unit leads the industry with a design fusing electrostatics and power feed in one compact device. By combining the powder injector and control unit functionality into one device, you get the highest coating efficiency, fastest response times of powder output, and excellent cleaning performance. For more information, call 877-437-6771. Once again, that's 877-437-6771. And be sure to mention, Ask Joe sent me. Configure it, feed it, optimize it, integrate it. Complete it with Gema.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this special edition of the Astro Powder Podcast. I'm Nathan, and today I'm excited to be interviewing two people from PPG. I have Courtney Jungjohann Deemer and Shelley Verdun. So, first of all, Shelley, I understand that you have a background in chemistry, and you were originally worked in the liquid side of PPG. So how did you end up getting into powder coatings?
Well, Nathan, that's good of you to know, actually. So I've been with PPG actually for 33 years. I am a chemist, a technical person by degree, and came into PPG on the liquid side. So most of my career, 25 years or a little more, were spent on the coil and extrusion coating side. So that's where I grew up, if you will, did a lot of product development, a lot of customer interaction. I also handled our color management team for coil and extrusion, which is architectural based. But then right around the 2015 time when IVC Industrial Coatings came into our world and we acquired them, I actually moved out of the liquid world into the powder world with PPG and led the integration of that acquisition, which was a great powder acquisition for us. And I've been with powder ever since. So first, after the acquisition, I was in product management, but now I'm the business manager for powder in the Americas here. So that's my current place.
Okay, that's really interesting. So you oversee the entire North American powder business then?
I do, yes. So I have responsibility for U.S. and Canada, and then Mexico and Latin America. So yeah, really exciting time to be in powder, honestly.
Oh, yeah. And Courtney, how did you get involved in powder? Were you sales originally, or?
Yes. So I actually studied chemical engineering at the University of Pittsburgh, but took my first job out of college with PPG in technical sales. So I've been with industrial coatings at PPG my full 16 years in my career. And, the sales force in industrial sells the whole portfolio of offerings. So pre-treatment, electrocoat, powder, and liquid. So I've been working with powder my whole career within PPG and really kind of have taken different roles on the commercial end of the business. But, as I reflect back, my first sale was actually powder. And I would say the biggest success in my career was related to powder. So I have a big soft spot for powder and was so excited when I took over this role last year.
Okay, and your role, you're the global business director for powder coatings?
Correct, yeah. So I have oversight of the whole global business within PPG for powder coating. So Shelley runs the Americas for us, and we have individuals that run Europe and China and rest of Asia as well.
That's really interesting because, PPG is a huge, massive organization. So how do powder coatings fit into the overall strategy? Because I think I kind of get the impression that there's, maybe internal competition where, the liquid guys might say, hey, stay away from this sort of area, and other things where like a powder coating is obviously the solution. Like, how does what's the overall corporate strategy there?
Yeah, so we really look to deliver whatever solutions for the customer make best sense. And there's really no competition is just as important to us in the portfolio as powder is. So we cooperate fully with our liquid teams. A great example of that, Nathan, is in our wheel coatings area. If you know wheel at all, that's a stacked process of powder coating, liquid coating, and powder coating, right?
Yep.
For a vehicle. So if you don't work well with your liquid teams, you don't have good alignment, you can't win in a market like that. So really both are important to us, very strategic technologies, and it's really about what is the best solution for the customer is what we deliver. So no competition internally.
That's really interesting. So I just want to talk about, the last year has just been completely crazy, unpredictable. And, one thing that we're noticing is like the supply chain has really been affected pretty badly, all the way back to, basic chemicals that the raw materials are made out of are being delayed. And then that means that the raw materials for the powder that we make, it's being delayed. So, how have you guys been impacted, and how are you able to, keep up with the needs of your customers with all the craziness that's been going on the last year?
Yeah, 2020 was a wild year, but 2021 has, really been unique as well. So we're seeing similar challenges that the rest of the market is seeing from a raw material perspective. The tightness in the supply chain and raw material inflation. I think it's a very consistent situation happening across the industry. I'm hoping we're starting to hit peak here.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's going to start going down, but things are starting to settle a little bit, knock on wood. But we're really lucky from a PPG powder perspective, especially in Shelley's area. We've got 6 powder plants in the U.S., so we have the ability to pivot manufacturing when we need to, like the storm that happened in Texas. Yeah. We are able to shift manufacturing pretty easily across our powder network to make sure our customers, are continuing to receive product from us. And, we've got really great scale from a purchasing perspective, supply chain perspective. So I'm really proud of how the team navigated the challenges during COVID in 2020 and then even in 2021 with what we've seen. I think we've done a really nice job of navigating that because of the way we are set up from a manufacturing perspective.
All right, that's pretty interesting. I want to talk a little bit about industry trends, new developments, just, the sort of new stuff that we're seeing coming out there. You mentioned automotive, Shelley. Do you see, do you see powder coatings having more of a presence in automotive? Because, historically it's like, the wheels, maybe some under the hood parts, it's just small parts of automotive are usually powder coated, but it's still like overwhelmingly a liquid application. Do you see anything happening in automotive?
Yeah, so automotive powder is really important, honestly, because it's highly functional, highly durable space, right? So it's underbody as well as trim powder. So things like roof racks and running boards, mirror housings, all of those things are important. I'll tell you another important space for us in automotive as it pertains to powder is in the mobility space. The whole of electric vehicle and how powder can play a role in that world is really opens up a whole different subsegment or segment, if you will, in the mobility space for electric vehicles. So while we're not on the car body today for do most of those liquid coatings today, still primer surfacer is powder, and there's still development work going on for improved appearance, durability, and everything that you would need from a commercial perspective for automotive.
Yeah, and if I could add, Shelley, a great explanation. As she said, electric vehicles are just a really exciting area for us in powder and PPG in general. We have a really strong automotive OEM team.
Yeah.
That calls on the OEMs. We've got an auto part team that calls on the tier suppliers. We also have a mobility team that Shelley alluded to. They're looking at, what is happening in electric vehicles and keeping us at the forefront. So they're engaging with OEMs and the tier base and the cell manufacturers on what is needed to be successful as that market rapidly grows. And we've been selling into the electric vehicle space, I don't know, Shell, 5 years, 4 years, quite a long time in powder, specifically in that market. So I'm really thrilled with our portfolio of offerings we have today. And we're going to continue to innovate there based on this mobility team's direction of how things are changing. We always say it moves at battery speed. It moves really, really fast. Things are changing constantly. And, you're going to continue to see innovations coming out of our powder team in that space, even this year, to continue to keep us at the forefront and having a really wide portfolio for our customers to choose from in EV.
Yeah, and I was reading somewhere that just all the small parts, the electric battery cells and all that stuff, it's just a matter of surface area. There's actually like that much more just surface to paint, and so it seems like a big growth potential there for coatings, just because you've got all these small parts that need to be coated.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Go ahead, Shell, please.
Sorry. And that, honestly, that is all about innovation. That's functional protective coatings for, battery and component. And that's right in our wheelhouse, quite frankly, Nathan. That innovation is what we're all about. And electric vehicle in this space, we're really focusing on from a development perspective as well. So a lot of things to come there in that space. And Courtney's right. Battery speed is what we call it. It honestly moves a lot faster than most other markets we've ever played in. So it's exciting. There's a global effort for PPG, great team assembled. And so, it's a key area for us for growth.
And that, kind of brings me to, corrosion resistance, I know is one of the things you guys have been really pushing the last couple of years, right? The better edge coverage and improved corrosion resistance. Can you talk a little bit about, what you have to offer there?
Yeah, so we launched in 2019 Extreme Protection Edge. And so if I go back in my career several years ago, I was running our heavy duty equipment segment. And many of the OEMs in that segment, were happy with the corrosion scribe creep on a panel, but they were having rust in the field on those sharp edges. And there was a lot of activity around how do you test edge, and how do you make sure you're covering the edge?
Yeah.
And there was a lot of discussion around, we don't want to spend the capital to put in a new paint booth or have to do shot blasting. So our R&D team spent years developing this Extreme Protection Edge with, patented technology to make sure we're covering the edge as we apply the powder, and then it stays on the edge as we're going through the oven and curing. So we're really excited about this technology and how different it is for the marketplace and, the value it's bringing our customers. Not only are they getting better protection for their products, they're not having to spend all the capital that they were possibly going to have to get this kind of performance. And so, we're seeing a lot of excitement about this. And we also have a primer version as well for those, I see two different camps. Someone who wants a direct to metal offering, another company that wants the primer protection. And so we also have the Extreme Protection Edge primer as well to really, again, keep that primer on the edge and not have it pull away as it's getting cured within the oven. So, I think it's really great innovation from our team that we're having, a lot of excitement in the market from. And I don't know, Shell, if you want to add anything there on that portfolio or corrosion in general.
No, as I look back, Courtney, I think that's really the first time you and I started working together.
Probably.
I was in the product management side, helping to scope that project globally, input, and you led that input from the global team. To make sure we knew what we were innovating was what the customer wanted, right? That's so important we've learned from sins in the past. If you don't really listen to your customer, you might think you have the best product in the world when they look at you like, we didn't really need that, right? Single coat was really overwhelmingly what we heard from that customer base. Courtney helped us bring that forward. We went to work there, and I'll tell you, the R&D team did a nice job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really cool that you're able to build the performance into the material, and so the customer can keep all their equipment and their process and everything pretty much the same, and just put a better powder on it.
Right. It's in the box, as we say. Innovation in the box, right? That's really what it is. And Courtney's right. Customers were looking at doing some extreme things to improve their edge corrosion.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like edge rounding equipment. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but with laser cutting, that really creates an edge that's difficult to keep paint on. It really creates a surface flow issue. Edge rounding is very expensive. It takes a whole nother step in the process. And basically, we've been able to tell the customer, look, you don't need that because we have this innovation for powder that will do what that edge rounding was going to do. So yeah, a lot of great value there to product.
Pretty exciting stuff. What about the architectural market? Have you guys seen a lot of powder finding its way into architectural? I know there's all these green building initiatives and sort of incentives to use more environmentally friendly materials. So it seems like powder has the opportunity to really make big waves in the architectural space.
For sure. That's a focus market for us, extrusion. It's an exciting area. You probably know, Nathan, well, you're a powder guy, but to know us in PPG, we are strong in liquid as it pertains to aluminum extrusion, so 2603, 04, 05. In powder, we have excellent technology on the 03 and 04 space. We call it Envirocron, high transfer efficiency, really great utilization rates for powder, perfect for extrusions. It's, again, innovation in the box. But I will give you a sneak peek, actually, as to something that we're about ready to launch in the next couple of weeks in the 2605 space. And it's called Coreflon Platinum. It's a new technology, fluoropolymer-based, as typical for 2605, FE-based. And what's really different about it is it's a global technology, which means that it's okay for any region in the world. So it doesn't have things like TGIC or BPA or PFOAs. In addition, it's the first fluoropolymer powder out there that's high transfer efficiency. And we've actually done studies to show that it's got about 20% better utilization rate. So that really is, from the applicator perspective, money in the pocket, right, in terms of less powder usage. But I think that the thing that's most exciting to our sales team at this point, and to the customers that we've talked to, is it's got a wider gloss range to it. And you might think, okay, so what? It's 5, but the wider gloss is 5 to 85, and what that allows us to do in that low gloss space is to develop colors that mimic anodized metal. And anodized is such an important trend. It continues to be an important trend in the architectural space, and it has not been available in fluoropolymers up until now. So really excited. Like I said, it does meet things like it's REACH compliant, living building challenge, red list compliant. So truly a global platform. And actually our technical team out of Gainesville, I'll give them a little shout out here, Paul Bradley and team. They just were awarded a patent on this technology in the US. So we're very excited about the whole development.
That's really interesting because, the fluoropolymers, they typically have some weird electrostatic properties. So that's kind of cool that you're able to get good efficiency out of those. Yeah.
If you know fluoropolymers, they're not the best applying product. And this really is different. And not to mention it's reclaimable. So when you start to manipulate powder, you may find your place where you can't reclaim it, but this is fully reclaimable. So we are so excited to launch this into the market. You'll see a lot about it out there. New color card coming with all kinds of styled colors and effects and aesthetics. So it's really an exciting time.
Gaima's newest Optiflex Pro model, the CF unit, offers simple, reliable color change in 20 seconds. The Optiflex Pro CF unit is the perfect solution for lab use, powder quality testing, and coating of small quantities or small size samples. For more information, call 877-437-6771. Once again, that's 877-437-6771. And be sure to mention, Ask Joe sent me. When you want to know that everything is covered, complete it with Gaima.
Powder Coating Research Group is a proud sponsor of the Ask Joe Powder podcast. PCR is the only independent laboratory dedicated to powder coating technology. We do everything from raw material evaluation, formulating the next generation of coatings, new product development, testing, troubleshooting, training, and consulting. To find out more, visit our website at powdercoatingresearch.com, or you can email Kevin Biller at kevinbiller@yahoo.com. Thanks for listening to the Ask Joe Powder podcast.
All right, and you guys acquired Alpha Coatings not too long ago, and with that, you got a huge portfolio of some really cool low temperature and fast cure technology. We're seeing more and more wood, MDF, composites. People are able to coat now with powder. What do you guys have planned as far as low temperature and what you can do with all that technology you have now?
Yeah. So, we acquired Alpha. It was probably the worst time of the year, March 20th. Make yourself back there. We no sooner closed the acquisition and we weren't allowed to travel. So I was able to, or visit the facility. So I was able to meet the team, and I had, Jenna Muthaya and his wife, Anita, were the owners. And so I was able to get out there and meet the team prior. But it's truly been a great acquisition for us. Small company there in West Chicago. Great small batch, fast response, fit perfectly into our world. We said we were that, but we truly were. They were much better at it than us, and that's what always we look for in acquisitions, is to really fill our gaps. They have an excellent RAL stocking program, and that's just the one piece of it. And you're right. I know you asked me about high temperature, and the second key piece to that acquisition was really about their low temperature cure technology. And Jenna Muthaya is the technical director there. He is the one that developed that technology. He's now in our PPG world. We're happy to say as our technical director for powder in the U.S. But yeah, we basically took that technology and we launched at the end of last year. I don't know if you saw it in the news. We branded that technology called Heat Sense, and it's really low temperature cure coatings for heat sensitive substrates. So beyond just MDF and let's say HDF, it's things like hardwood and plastics, fiberglass, anything that can't take the typical cure, because heat sense coatings typically bake around 250 degrees F. Now we've got a lot of work going on there on the R&D side to extend that lower even. But this is an exciting new area for us. So from the acquisition, we've got organized around that brand. But if you think about powder on, what it's competing with there, whether it's liquid coatings on the wood side or things like melamines or liquid, powder is just so much. It's got the environmental play. Plus, what really is the key benefit, in my opinion, the value proposition, is powder encapsulates the substrate. It totally encompasses the board. So a couple things are good about that. From a moisture resistance perspective, if you know MDF and HDF, controlling moisture is key before coating and after coating. So powder really, is a barrier to that moisture. But also, if you think about the fact that it covers the edges, when it comes to typical melamines and laminates, they've got an edge band on work surfaces. And edge banding basically is a point of area for opening for bacteria and germs and things to get within. And it's also a chipping area, frankly, when it comes to performance. So that's all overcome with powder coatings. But heat sense in general, fully reclaimable powder, able to be cured with conventional oven or IR or combination, which is really what you see right now. I'll tell you, Nathan, there's a lot of work going on, I know, across many powder coating suppliers, as well as end users, looking at powder for things they never have before, whether it's office furniture or cabinets or building products. A lot of work in this space going on, and very exciting because it's a whole new value proposition for the space.
Yeah, and it seems like the sort of thing we've been talking about for years, like, you could put powder coatings on all these things, but it seems like it's really become a reality in the last, 5 years or so.
I agree with you 100%. And I only know the history from Geno, honestly. He's taught me everything that I know about this market.
Yeah.
Really, the fact that, the technology in all areas, application, curing, as well as the powder technology, has all advanced to the point where we are today, and we can make this work now, right? We're not worried about the failures in the field. We know how to make the powder, apply it, test it, and ensure it's going to perform long term.
Well, and yeah, even just the ovens that are out now are, so much more,
Advanced.
suited to this task. And yeah, we've definitely come a long way. That's interesting. Yeah, we're talking about acquisitions. I was going to mention, we do this podcast every 2 weeks, and we do the news. And I told myself I wasn't going to bring up the certain Finnish company that I don't know what the status is right now, because every single time that we've reported on it, it was like immediately not accurate anymore. So yeah, I don't know where we stand with that right now, but.
Well, we have a lot in queue at the moment. So I won't comment on any particular one, but, we made several announcements on acquisitions we're working through and negotiating and looking to close this year. And I mean, if you look at PPG's history, we have a long history of acquisitions. And so, post-COVID, that pipeline of companies looking for buyers got pretty big. And so, as Shelley alluded to, we're looking for the right fit. We want to partner with a company that, shares our values or could grow our footprint or grow our technology like Alpha. So we're really excited about what's coming down the pike as far as acquisitions this year. There's one with powder in Europe that I'm looking forward to negotiating and closing for us on the powder side. But as I look at even our powder business in the U.S. in the past 10 years, and Shelley's lived a lot of this, we've acquired Spraylat, IVC, Alpha, and I look back and it's just really incredible now the footprint we have in the U.S. because of those acquisitions, the amazing people. I mean, some of the talent that we have brought into the family is just incredible, and, the technology. So powder is a big growth focus for us at PPG, and I hope you'll be continuing to report on acquisitions for us, PPG powders, in the future. I'll be listening.
Until there's just one powder company left, one paint company. Just gobble them all up. Yeah. And also, another piece of technology. Have you guys seen people interested in antimicrobial coatings as a result of the pandemic?
Yeah, for sure. So you heard me say that we bought Alpha in March of last year, and they had a great RAL stocking program, and we quickly pivoted. I call 2020 the year of pivoting and being able to really do what's needed to grow. And we actually launched a called Silver Sand, Nathan. It's a silver-based product, our antimicrobial technology.
Mm-hmm.
You marry those two that together, that technology as well as a quick ship RAL program. And we launched last year very quickly in the PPG world a Silver Sand quick ship program out of Alpha, very specifically directed to the market for end uses such as or furniture, like medical furniture, and just different spaces. It's crazy how many different market segments are interested, obviously, from the consumer side in antimicrobial protection. So, it continues to be an important piece of our technology and powder.
Okay. And in general, you'd say silver is kind of the prevailing technology there? Like,
I'd say silver is the historic one that's used to protect, but there's a lot of work going on with other additives, other metals such as copper.
Mm-hmm.
Our R&T team is working on different solutions here, and it's something that's important to us from an innovation portfolio. So that's I will tell you that it's an important space for us to innovate in.
And so we're kind of talking about the up and coming technology and that sort of stuff. Like, what do you guys see for the future of the coatings industry in general? I guess be more specific. Like, seems like the old guard is kind of on their way out. now we're seeing a lot more, trying to get younger people involved in the industry. And that's kind of hard to, tell people, hey, you should, paint is really cool and interesting. Stop trying to, work for Facebook. But yeah, what do you guys want to, say about the, young people that might be interested in getting into the coatings industry? Or
Courtney, did he call us old, by the way? Did he just call us old?
I hope not.
I was saying the opposite.
I feel it some days. I'll tell you what.
Well, you're right. We're always looking to add talent to our teams. And, one of the areas that I think is really interesting in powder coatings is the work with recycled content. I think a lot of, I hate to say kids, but honestly, Nathan, they're kids coming out of college today. The planet and our well-being is important to them. Giving back, things like that are important to them. And so, things like bio-based materials, recyclability, doing less harm to the planet really is to the environment is important. And, PPG offers that, career coatings offers that in terms of R&D work or being able to be on the field. There's lots of different roles that you can play in the coatings world, from engineers to manufacturing to supply chain, et cetera. So PPG has been a great company to work for. 33 years later, here I still am, and every day challenged and always happy to work with such great people. And so, that's when I talk to college kids and new interviews and whatever it may be, you make it more personal. And I think, honestly, that really resonates with them, right? What they can do for good, what's good about being part of a team, the flexibility we can offer them in the coating space. And honestly, it's just that one-on-one connection and discussion. But you're right, we do have a challenge overall in the coatings industry and bringing new talent in.
All right. Trying to think if I have anything else. Courtney, is there anything you want to add? Just anything that I haven't brought up that you want to talk about?
No, as I was thinking about your question, we're trying to be different too post-COVID with digitalization. And I think that kind of goes a little bit to your point, right? So how do we, do things differently? And we were thinking, before COVID, how do we change digitally and how we interact with customers, and COVID accelerated things, right? So, the one thing I want to mention is we're planning to launch a new e-commerce site this summer with PPG Industrial Coatings in the US and Canada. So we're really excited about that new way of interacting with our customers, and, the Amazon effect. How do we do business differently? How do we change our business model a little bit? So, we're constantly thinking about how we can change, not only with the situation that happened last year, but, our customers are changing too, right? And they're expecting to be able to do things from their phone. And so we need to adapt, and we're working really hard. We have a full digital team in PPG helping us with that journey. And I do think that will help as we grow through that.
Yeah, people definitely are not accustomed to the old, the old system of the, sales guy knocking on the door and saying, hey, here's what we have. Now everybody's, they got their phone, they got their computer, and that's how you find things. That's how you learn things. That's how you buy things.
Absolutely.
Nathan, we've had a couple virtual innovation days with customers this year so far. And I'll tell you, the response has been so positive. What you can bring to them at their home office, most of them, some of them in the office, but fewer and fewer still.
Yeah.
That's an exciting way. Courtney's right. It's how we can connect, how we can help train our customers virtually. How can we, just connect with them throughout this? And I think moving forward, even when maybe the COVID restrictions have been lifted, I think there's going to be a hybrid approach moving forward.
Yeah.
All right. That's, sounds like exciting stuff for the future. And, we'll be definitely, we see your press releases and we read them on our podcast. So we'll be keeping up on the new developments.
Awesome.
Shelley, before we, formally started, we were talking about trade shows and trade organizations. Again, this year has been pretty crazy with all the shows got pushed back, and now they're all happening at the exact same time. There's like 20 of them in September. I'm trying to figure out which ones to go to. But yeah, where are you guys going to be? Are you guys going to be at, the European show, the American coding show, the PCI?
We'll be at PCI for sure. FabTech, Neocon, AI Virtual will be there. I'm missing some, I'm sure, Court. Those. You're right.
Yeah.
At this point, we're going to have to divide and conquer because they've all been pushed. I think Powder Coatings Institute was maybe the first one in July, but then many of them line up in September, October timeframe.
Well, PCI, yeah, they had it in March or something, and then they push it back and push it back and push it back, and now it's really happening in late July, I think it is.
Right.
All right. Well, that's all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for coming and answering some questions. I think our idea with this interview series, or whatever you want to call it, is we just want to talk to people from all different corners of the industry. So we've got, you guys are on the business side of things, and we'll talk to someone that does pre-treatment or ovens or stuff like that. And I think it would be really cool over time as we are able to just get perspectives from people all over the industry. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys taking your time to talk to me. And
yeah, Nathan, thank you for having us. It's been a great experience. Actually, my first podcast, I'll tell you, my nephew was very disappointed to hear this was only my first, but certainly appreciate the time and being able to talk with you and talk about PPG powder.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity. I really enjoyed it. And if we can do anything more to support you guys, just let us know. And if people have questions, they can find us on LinkedIn, or I'm sure through you. And hopefully we'll get to meet you in the future. Have you ever met Nathan, Shell? Hopefully one of these shows we can meet.
Yeah, he's going to be in Orlando at PCI. And
good, excellent.
Yeah. Well,
come find us.
Okay.
Awesome.
I'll be
Thank
there.
you again. Thank you for this opportunity. Really appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Thank you for listening to the Ask Joe Powder Powdcast. This episode was brought to you by Gaema. Gaema powder coating systems offer you greater efficiencies while producing high-quality results. We provide the very best in powder delivery, application technology, and connectivity for smarter factory automation. With Gaema, you get maximum performance and repeatability whether you are on the shop floor or away from it. For a demonstration, call 877-437-6771. Once again, that's 877-437-6771. And be sure to mention, Ask Joe sent me. When you want to know that everything is covered, complete it with Gaema.
Yeah, my cat was attacking my foot for a minute there, trying to hold it together.
The beauty of working in some of these environments.
My coworker Nick was really cool.